as them decide the logics, it means it must be logical for you. Because we realize all of them thinking is to sustain them. So what am to we? How long African people are going to fight African people for where white people teach them?
This is Mutabaruka. We want to present to you a wholesome kind of level of consciousness right now. So subscribe and tell your friend them. This is Mutabaruka.
We are going to go to heaven. We're going to heaven. Meanwhile, black people are waiting to go to heaven. They might inherit everything from the earth and a thief the land, take away the land from where, and I build up them this and I build up them that. If the world is not going to end, how come the man look forward for new things and new ideas to make life? Man, I'm a plan for y'all go to Mars and all them way there. In case anything happens to the earth, them can't go back, them can't go to Mars because them say it look like life can't sustain for Mars and all. Meanwhile, we down here so I wait for go to heaven and I talk about the next. When we're dead, what's going to happen? All the hell we are talking about when we're dead, what happened to this life? It's a terrible thing, you know. It's a terrible thing. It's like a man that talk about two heads better than one. And if two heads better than one, that means that God don't know what him did that do. To make man with one head. If you put two heads together, you're supposed to have a better result. We must think.
You are listening to the Black Radar YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button and keep listening.
When I talk about sunrise and sunset and the earth, the four corners of the earth, and them are impose for them understanding from we, and we sup it in without even think. When them talk about four corners of the earth, how them get four corners? Because them think that the world is flat. We know that the world is flat. But we still maintain this talk. Just like how we say we are West Indian. As African people, we say West Indian. But we don't see nothing wrong. People tell you, say, boy, Muta, what kind of thing that? Then that don't make no difference to nothing. Add up the whole of them. One cocoa full up the basket. You know, the greatest part of our window is the hole in it. The greatest part of the basket is the part where have no weave. Because that's how everything will go in there. The greatest part of the window is the space between the window. So when man I tell you, say, it don't make a difference, you know, them little things there, are the little things them that make the big things happen and work. The little things make the big things happen and work. And if you go and don't realize the divinity of man must be exposed through his action and the goodliness that he perform to him fellow human being. That is the divinity where man should look for and expose. You must expose the divinity in you. Because that is where you have your brains. You have your brains. And you hear Tracy Chapman say, all that we have is our soul. I'm going to play a tune later. But I want to go forward with this Satan concept. And the idea of this Satan, after we go round and go round, we're going to come right round to this now. So I want you to take a listen to this documentary here. Because we're going to try to find a documentary in the little archives where we have to really coincide or put together with all the events where we say take place around here now, with the ISIL thing, with the invasion of Iraq, with the guys them we just get we shut up the place today. That's a normal thing now in America. Common thing in America here right now. The enemy within. The enemy within. When they thought that the enemy was outside, is the enemy within. Which part you think the divinity there is within you. Which part you think the badness there and the cruelty and the wickedness there are inner you it there. Which part you think the love and the harmony and the peace we all are we are searching, which part you think it that inner you. So just like how America look for enemies outside of them, when them look, them see it inside of them. So you have to confront the enemy within. You have to confront the devil within. There's no human devil. There's no human form. There is no human form. That is the devil. The only human that form in the devil is the mind of human beings constructing good and constructing bad in order to maintain whether good or bad in the environment that they live in. Our perception is defined by where we are from and where we are and how we perceive and construct things in the environment. So we either draw from other people or we look into our minds and brains and evaluate for ourselves what is what and what is not, without just sucking everything where people say to you or where people don't want to say to you. So when you hear about devil, you start to say devil, everybody a devil and everybody a Satan and all them things, and people who don't follow where you are say, you say them a pagan, them a heathen, them a devil, them a this, that, all sort of thing. When I try to find the documentary, I will find the documentary. So listen, and listen well to the story that this documentary have to tell. Wait there. Okay? We'll wait for it out. Oh, go on, so. All right.
Lucifer, Beelzebub, the beast, Satan.
Hail, Satan.
When you say Satan to me, I think God. He has been called many names. He has taken many strange and different forms. The idea of God's evil enemy has been around for thousands of years. And it's still as powerful as ever.
Evil is real, and it must be opposed.
But where did Satan's story begin? Where did he come from? And how did he become the Prince of Darkness? More than 3,000 years ago, in the deserts and pasturelands of the Middle East, unknown hands wrote the earliest chapters of the Hebrew Bible. If the devil had a birthplace, surely it was here, somewhere in the book known to Christians as the Old Testament. In the oldest books of the Bible, a character called Satan does appear, but he's nothing like the Satan we imagine.
When we read the Old Testament, we find that from time to time there is this strange dark figure who pops up called the Satan. The word the Satan is actually a title. The word means the accuser. And to begin with, it seems that the Satan is one of the angels or attendants in the heavenly court, one of God's servants who, in a sense, had to do some of the dirty work.
This Satan has no power of his own. He does only what God tells him. Nor is he a horrible creature with horns and a tail.
There's no kind of prince of darkness, somebody who's standing opposite to God. Throughout most of the text, there's no concept at all of an evil force.
One of Satan's earliest appearances is as an angel in the book of Job. In one of the best-known stories in the Bible, Satan argues that Job, one of God's most loyal servants, is only pious because he has a good life. God agrees that Satan can test Job by inflicting on him all kinds of diseases and calamities. In the end, in spite of dreadful sufferings, Job continues to worship God, and Satan loses the argument. The Satan who makes Job's life a misery isn't a demon or even a bad angel. And he doesn't live in hell.
There wasn't any kind of concept of a hell like we have, you know, a place of fiery torment and torture. In fact, to the ancient Israelites, what happened when you died was really very little. You went to a place called Sheol, and this was just a sort of dark, shadowy place, a sort of underworld, where everybody who died went, irrespective of whether you were good or bad.
So where is the Satan we know? Where's the fiend who's eternally at war with the forces of good? The monster who rules over the flames of hell and punishes sinners? Where is the fallen angel with his legions of demon helpers, tempting humans to do evil things so that he can win their souls? If the traditional devil doesn't come from the Jewish Old Testament, where does he come from? Since human history began, people all over the world have believed in demons and evil spirits. A few share some traits with our devil, like horns or a beard, but none are as powerful as Satan. So where did people first get the idea of an ultimate evil being? 3,500 years ago, in ancient Persia, where Syria, Iraq, and Iran are now, there were many gods, good and evil, until one man, a religious teacher called Zoroaster, reduced the whole complicated cast of characters to two.
Zoroaster is a revolutionary, primarily because he, in one sense, personifies these ethical categories into a good god, Ahura Mazda, and a bad god, Ahriman. And this is an extremely potent idea, and one which forms the basis for later conceptions of dualistic thought. In other words, the separation between good and evil.
The good god is the all-knowing Ahura Mazda, the god of light and order. The evil god is Ahriman, god of chaos, darkness, and lies. In Zoroaster's teachings, the universe is a battlefield between the gods of good and evil, and every person on earth must take sides. After death, good people are rewarded in heaven, while sinners are punished in a dark and gloomy hell.
It is one of those ultimate, rather attractive kinds of dualism, that this life is a struggle between good and evil, therefore choose good, between light and darkness, therefore choose light.
Under the powerful Persian emperor Darius the Great, the teachings of Zoroaster become the official religion of the Persian Empire, an empire which includes the lands of Israel. The new Persian ideas about good and evil soon find their way into the Jewish scriptures.
So we get a clear demarcation of what we would call Jewish ideas, okay, and we can spot the Zoroastrian ideas in the Old Testament. They are there, notions of heaven and hell, okay. The beginning of actually seeing the devil personified as the fierce opponent of God.
As the Persian Empire in turn is defeated by Alexander the Great, Greek culture comes to ancient Israel. The Greeks introduce a huge cast of gods and goddesses, including one who will shape our image of Satan for centuries. Hades has a black face or black beard. He sits on a throne, often made of ebony, and he wields a two-pronged fork, not for prodding sinners, but for blasting things to bits.
To the classical Greeks, the underworld was ruled by Hades, who was the god of the dead.
He was one of the Olympian gods, but he seems to have spent most of his time in this dark, shadowy underworld, which is also called Hades. Now, he wasn't a very nice character. He seems to have been very morbid and morose, and nobody really liked him. None of the gods liked him, and certainly no humans liked him.
Hades wasn't very likable, but he wasn't evil either. In fact, the ancient Greeks see Hades as a god of justice. They believe that when people die, they go to Hades, and he decides whether they go to a place of happiness or a place of misery. As ruler of the world underground, Hades is also the god of wealth and abundance. In a dim memory of Hades, people have believed for centuries that the devil can make you rich. As well as the brooding character of Hades, the Greeks give the world another familiar ingredient of the devil's story. In a famous myth, Zeus, the greatest of the gods, defeats the winged serpent Typhon and throws him down to Tartarus, the lowest region of the underworld. Over the following centuries, the myth grows into the story of how the angel Satan rebels against God and is thrown out of heaven with all his followers. Satan's allies, the fallen angels, become his legion of demons. When we think of hell, we think of fire, lava, and sinners being horribly tortured. But where did this picture come from? The underworld of Hades doesn't have fire, but ancient Jerusalem does.
Called Gehenna, which was the old smouldering rubbish heap in ancient Jerusalem.
And because of the stink of the place and because there was so much in the way of rubbish, periodically it would set fire to, and the fires there would burn for several days, if not weeks.
Gehenna was the place where the Jerusalem authorities burned the bodies of executed criminals. Over time, the place came to stand for something supernatural, a spiritual fate that would await the wicked at the end of time. Gehenna was the inspiration for the terrors of hell. By the time the Christian Gospels were written, towards the end of the 1st century AD, Satan has grown into a powerful figure. By now, Jewish lands are ruled by the mighty Roman Empire. It was a time when the Romans were hated bitterly. To many Jews and Christians persecuted by Rome, Satan is the evil force behind Caesar's throne. In the New Testament book of Revelation, the writer gives Satan one of his most mysterious names, the Beast, 666. The Beast could refer to the Roman Emperor himself.
The author of Revelation says that the beast has a human number and it's 666. Now this has traditionally been seen as a reference to the Emperor Nero, and that's because if you take Nero Caesar in Aramaic and count up the numerical values of those letters, it comes to 666.
The book of Revelation says that the devil was sent down by God into the abyss, where he will be locked up for 1,000 years. When he gets out, the end of the world will come. An apocalyptic battle will take place as good and evil fight it out to the end.
Satan will be let loose and will put up a final attempt to rule the world.
This is kind of the dragon of chaos back again. This is evil opposed to God. So it's drawing on very, very ancient cosmological speculation, not so much from Judaism itself, but from the surrounding areas, particularly the Persians.
So what does the devil look like at the dawn of the Christian era? Often he's got black skin and hair, like Hades, ruler of the underworld. His wings echo the story that he was once an angel, although they look more like the wings of a dragon. For thousands of years, the dragon was the symbol of an evil force. And it's from the dragon that Satan inherits his taloned feet. When Satan isn't being a dragon, he's a snake. The serpent, said to have tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden, has long been believed to represent the devil, although the scriptures don't actually say so. In fact, Christian leaders disagree, sometimes violently, about what the devil is like. But one thing they do agree on: he is busy working with and through their enemies. 4 centuries after Christ, a Roman emperor, Constantine the Great, converts to Christianity. Within a generation, the once persecuted religion is the official creed of the mightiest empire on earth. Christian bishops now have real power, backed up by the state, and they use Satan to help them keep it.
The informative information presented in this video is motivational and is positively aimed at inspiring, educating and entertaining the viewers with the cutting edge of critical reasoning. If you enjoy the contents on the Black Radar YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to show your support.